So I'm just going to dive right into it.
Please
Can
do.
you tell us anything about Matt going forward? And obviously he's got this hero of the horn thing going on, and it's a little bit different than the books. I'd love to.
You're going to ask me, Stephen, 3 questions. I'm going to defer and say no, which I've done on every other table. I want you to. It's really exciting what's coming up, and as everybody knows, we're still filming. So, and it's looking amazing. And Matt's storyline's great, but I'm not going to tell you what happens. I'm sorry. They're going to get killed by Rafe Judkins. But anyway, yep.
It must be amazing for the whole producing team to get that vote of confidence from Amazon. You were renewed to season 2 before season 1 premiere, then season 3 before season 2.
Yeah.
Does that relieve some of the pressure? Because when you're dealing with these books that have this huge fan base that are very passionate about it, you're scared of how the fans are going to react. But also you get this vote of confidence from Amazon.
Yeah.
So how does it feel as a producer too?
Well, I think it makes our lives easier. We know that we're getting another season. We can plan because the show is huge, and it's a huge cast and a huge number of crew. I think about 600 people on the ground, and then hundreds of cast as well, some day players, but it's a lot of people. And if we know and we can plan, and because the scale is so big as well, it's choosing where we're going in the world to shoot Kyrene, where we're going to shoot Farm, where we're going to shoot all those Tiffin Swell. I'm just thinking about season 2, and if we have enough time to plan it, then we can make the world better in every shape and form. And also, you've just talked about visual effects, haven't you?
Yes.
We can plan with them early on which location we're going to go to and how we're going to connect the world that we go to and make it feel real. There's so much organisation and planning that goes into it. The earlier we know, the better.
In your position with the show, what was the biggest challenge you've had to date, and how do you overcome it?
Biggest challenge? I think sheer scale. So, every season we get a different set of issues that we have to do. So, I remember season 1 doing the Trolloc battle in the Two Rivers and actually walking into the Two Rivers for the first time, and the scale of it, it's enormous. And it's a real village, and the Trollocs, building the Trollocs, and you could go on and on and on. It's just the volume of cast. We have to make everything because it's a fantasy world. So every prop, every costume, everything is made. It's not like we can go into the local shop and buy it. We have to, and then we've got to drop, little, Easter eggs in for the fans. So there's all of that stuff that we have to think about. And obviously we try and listen to the fans. If there's something that we've missed, I think it's quite important that we address it in another season if we've missed it in the previous season. So we've always tried to correct. There's always a problem. There's always something that you have to think about, which is what kept me on the show all this time, apart from the lovely people, because the people are fabulous.
Has there been something in season 2 that you were really proud to bring to screen, that you were really excited that you pulled it off, that was just like a personal best and a happy thing?
I think the stuff in Morocco was that was hugely challenging, and I can't tell you, filming that in a desert storm with all the crew. We all had masks on. Our poor actors were kind of the wind and the heat and and the tower sequence in episode 8, because that's a built tower, and the rest of it is visual effects, and just building that on this top of this sort of most beautiful place in Ouarzazate in the centre of Morocco. And filming in Dakhla in the Western Sahara, where nobody filmed before. So where the dune, the white sand dune is where they come out, and then the beach where Moraine does her channeling, that was all in Dakhla in the Western Sahara, and it's in the middle of nowhere. But we pulled it off. You know, it's one of those things. You have the right team of people around you, and you can do anything. You know, including getting costumes that got lost on the way from Essaouira to Dakhla. We got them. They always get there in the end, but there's always something that you have to deal with. You know, they got there. You know, they got there.
Did you approach the material looking at the books as a whole, or segmenting? Like, okay, we're going to look at putting these 3 books out, and then now we're going to look at the next.
I'm going to answer you the same question I asked somebody else before. It's really a Rafe question because I'm a non-writing EP, so I come into it quite late in terms of, you know, I'll talk to Rafe about what he's thinking and what the writing team is thinking. It's much more a question for the writing producers than for me in terms of how they adapt. And then I've read up to book 4 at the moment, but it's difficult because I'm always trying to read the scripts and interpret that as well. So I'm kind of trying to do both while we go along. Okay. And see what he's trying to do to get it into the 8 episodes per season. So he very much, you know, and the writing team, Justine and all the writers, they very much make the decisions about what's in and, you know.
Well then, let me ask you this for fun.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite character? Now, if you were an actor, who's the character that you would want to play? Don't worry about
Somebody
gender.
asked me that in the summer, and I said Lanfear, and they looked really shocked. But actually, I'm watching Natasha O'Keeffe having such fun playing Lanfear that I'm sort of, you know, I really quite like to be Forsaken. If I was an actor, it's just they're having such fun playing bad guys, and also I think because they are a mixture of good and evil. You know, you can see it's the whole of the Wheel of Time, isn't it? We've all got good and evil in us, and, you know, shades of grey, and I look at the way she's portraying her, and she's kind of wonderful. I mean, she's evil personified, but she's having such fun playing her that the enthusiasm, and Faris had a lovely time playing Ishmael. You know, you just think, you know, of the main characters, I think Nynaeve. I think she's, you know, Nynaeve or Egwene, probably. I'm far too old to play either of them, but, you know.
It's funny you said Lanfear because there's like such a passion, you know, for that character with the fans. Did you guys anticipate that
Yes.
people would be, you knew?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We knew, and Natasha's just playing her so brilliantly. I hope you agree. I mean, I just think, and she's having such a ball playing her, you know, that the enthusiasm is, you know, I just love the way she kind of, you know, it's kind of, which again, we talked with visual effects endlessly about how she uses the one power, and she's so wonderfully sort of dismissive, and, you know, it's great. Love it.
Bringing something like this is such a collaborative effort. So many people in different departments are doing their part. I feel like everyone can maybe from their perspective see where their fingerprints are. Like from the show, from maybe something difficult for us to see. What are you proud of? Where are your fingerprints that you can kind of point to?
I'm as Rafe will tell you, I've got multiple hats, so I'm right from the beginning, right the way through until we deliver. So I think I'm just proud of being there for every team member. So I'm the person everybody comes to and says, and what about? Can you sort? What do you think? So I think I'm just proud of being an EP on this show and producing something that I think is extraordinary. I mean, it's you know, and under incredibly difficult circumstances, through COVID, through Ukraine war, through another bout of COVID, writers' strike. You know, we're still here, we're still going, and the team is still. So I'm very proud of running a very happy team as well.
You mentioned the scope of the show. Season 1 was already huge. Like, I watched episode 1 and I'm like,
it's
there's
enormous.
No way it's gonna get bigger. But then it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. I imagine season 3 is gonna be even bigger.
Yeah.
Do you put your producing hat on when you get the scripts and you're like, oh, how the F are we gonna do this?
Yeah, I always look at the scripts and think, Ray, really? But what's wonderful is you get all the people that we work with, and they're all so creative, and we all put our hats on and look at it and think, how are we going to do this? And somehow or other we get through it. It's extraordinary. I mean, you literally, when you first read it, you think, really? That happened? And where are we going in the world to shoot that? And then it just happens. We make it happen. And I'm proud that so many of the crew have stayed on it the whole way through. Again, because it's a really happy show. It doesn't happen often.
That seems to be a like overwhelming theme between all of the tables, that the group is wonderful.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. I mean, I work with Andy and Brian in post, but you know, they're just one bit of my job, if you see what I mean. And we have such fun. You know, they're really fun people and very clever. So you know, hats off.
You mentioned COVID and the strike, the Ukrainian war. Obviously, when you're dealing with this intense material, you want to start the production and go through all the way because you don't want to start. And then you're dealing with all of this.
Yeah.
How do you get through this? How do you...
You laugh a lot. You laugh a lot. You get your practical hat on, and you have to fight another day. I mean, it doesn't matter what production you're doing. You know, things happen, and you have to adapt, and you have to swivel, and you pivot, and you work out how you're going to get through. And if you've got a really good supportive team of people, we always do. It's amazing how an amazing group of people can get you through anything, and you have to have the right mindset. We're all a bit crazy, you know, so we have to kind of, you know, it's very long hours and very antisocial. And my husband obviously looks at me sometimes and says, where in the world are you now? Oh, New York Comic Con. Right now, having never been before, so I'm quite excited. Yeah.
And have you seen anything since you've been here?
Not yet, so hopefully after the panel we'll get the chance to. My son's here, so I'm going to go and he lives in New York, so.
Oh, okay. You gotta walk around a bit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly, that's the whole thing, can I?
Yeah.
I just want to go and have a look.
Yes, we have time for one more question.
Got an answered all mine.
Okay.
Are you good?
Yeah, I do want.
I'm going to ask about season 3, but we can't talk about
No,
that. So.
no, that's pointless. That's No, I can't do an off the record, and I'm not talking about season 3. Just it's going to be wonderful. So stay tuned.
Yeah.
To ask about that then, when you're dealing with something that is embroiled with secrets, like you can't spoil anything, do you have someone you can confide in, like your husband, your son? Do you have like that one person?
No, not really. I sort of talk to my team. I mean, you know, I've got a huge team of people that I work with, and we all know what's going on. And you know, my husband has his own life, and my kids have their own lives, and you know that they don't really want to know what I'm doing. Oh, you're doing another season of Wheel of Time. That's about all they say. And where in the world are you going this time? So yeah, that's about as far as we go. So they know where location-wise I'm going, because obviously they see me get on a plane to go season 3, which I can't talk about. But yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, it's very nice to meet you all.